Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building. That was not good. Oh, but it never is. That's just what we're used to as Bears fans. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that the Chicago Bears got problems. But I'm also here to tell you that one of those problems is not Caleb Williams.
99.
We'll talk about it.
He ain't one.
Was that bacon I just saw? Was that a slice of bacon I just saw? Oh, dang it, Meanie. Dang it, Meanie. Oh, you son of a... You ruined it. Whole intro ruined this man.
That's right. That's right.
Now we got to talk about this bacon situation.
I need something to pick me up. I need to pick me up.
No, the bacon pick me up was not what I expected here. Also, we got to talk about Tom Pelissero and his report that Ben Johnson is also interested in the Chicago Bears. The date is 12/23/2024. It's 7:04 in the doggone morning. And Mr. Meaty is a dangerous man. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Big old bacon vibes. I don't even know what to do with that.
You ain't getting none of this bacon.
I don't want it. You look like one of those junkyard dogs that I'm just mad at everything. For some reason, I don't know why the dog was guarding the junkyard, but just snapping at everything that came through. Yo, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. I need y'all to go ahead and
come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Push the button. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. So what's the story behind this bacon, brother? You good? Is everything?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I told you it's been a bad morning, you guys. I got a flat tire on my way to getting breakfast. Had a good workout. Got some oatmeal. Got my bacon. And then all just everything went to crap. I went over probably the worst pothole in Chicago, and now I gotta wait to get it fixed. So there's another L in the consistent L's we have over the weekend with the Bears. So whatever.
And so that just led to on-stream
this
bacon.
is my depression bacon right here. This is getting me through the day right here.
I feel you. So your day is going a little Tyson, is it?
All right. Oh,
thank you.
No. Oh, God.
Oh, man. What's good, Breeze Nation? Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. Let's jump into the opening topic because I'm not going to lie to you. For some reason, the world has made Chicago fans believe that they don't have a quarterback. For some reason, this sect of people who are, and I've said this, there's two sects of people, right? There are the people that thought that Caleb Williams was going to come in and be Jesus Christ and just bless us with 47 wins in a single season. And then there's the people who wanted Justin Fields to remain the quarterback. And listen, I was one of the people who wanted Justin Fields to remain the quarterback, but they can't let go of that. And so everything Caleb Williams does that seems to be seemingly better as a passer is null and void because all of a sudden wins have now become a quarterback stat. I love that. Exactly. I love that. Whole argument last season. Wins are not a quarterback stat. Oh, okay. All right. I hear you. I hear you. Maybe, take it down a notch there.
Yeah.
Maybe less jowls when you scream. But now all of a sudden wins are solely on Caleb Williams, and he's been the reason that his head coach and offensive coordinator were fired. But dare I remind you that in a rookie season, that this young man has 60 sacks. 60 sacks. He is the third most sacked rookie quarterback of all time. He has a season where he has 3,271 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions.
Pretty good numbers, if I say so.
That is what people were screaming for. By the way, he's on pace to break the Bears' rookie passing record. And I guess, realistically speaking, if he has a couple of ballistic games, which I don't think he's in store for those, he's on pace to break the Bears' rookie record. I'm sorry, the Bears' passing record as a whole. I paused way too long there for that to say that wrong. I was thinking about that bacon still. I was thrown off by that bacon still.
Yeah, last piece right here, bud.
And I love this question. Brent Coleman, how many of the sacks are on him? Let's say a third of the sacks are on him. Let's say, what would that be, 20 sacks? 20 sacks are on Caleb Williams.
I'll give you 20.
That's 40 sacks. That is a young man who started his career being sacked 40 times because of the offensive line is in front of him. That's in front of him. Let's say half the sacks are on Caleb Williams. That's 30 sacks. That's 30 sacks on a bad offensive line that is in front of him. No matter how you say it, it's a lot of sacks. Take that for what you will. And I get it. We want to put the blame on someone else, but we're letting the narrative of what people believed Caleb Williams was going to look like, no matter the situation that he was placed in, overshadow the fact that this kid looks like the best quarterback to ever have been sacked this much in history. Also coupling that with the fact, because I had somebody throw this at me as well. Well, Patty's thrown the football 500 times. Of course, he's going to be able to put some yards up. Well, let's not say that. Like we've never been able to go out there and see a quarterback put the football up a ton of times and absolutely have no production out of it. But on the flip side of that, why is he throwing the football 500 times?
Mm-hmm.
Could it possibly be because you have a running back?
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Who absolutely can't see the field? Could it possibly be because you have a running back who, when it's called for an inside run, he's trying to press bounce it to the outside? Could it possibly be because you have an $8 million running back where you could have invested in your offensive line?
You got to look at the total scrimmage yards. That's what
you bastard. Yeah, part of that scrimmage is on Caleb Williams, by the way. Could it possibly be because you have a running back who couldn't see a hole with a hole in front of him?
Wow.
What a hole.
What a hole. Jesus.
It has nothing to do with that. And so I implore you to look at the scenario that this young man has been put in. Look at this, and I get it. Everybody, it was supposed to be the perfect scenario. It was going to be great. He was the best scenario for a rookie quarterback ever. Yep. Guess what? It's not. Because when we were making those statements, I was also saying you do got to still invest in this offensive line. But when you do, when you finally invest in that offensive line, you're going to have the weapons to go. Because it was asinine to come into a season and go into it and say, hey, maybe the starting center not important.
Yeah. Here's my thing. I just actually just heard somebody. I'm not sure if it was somebody that worked for the Commanders or not, but I was listening to the radio this morning, and this guy was just, I mean, you want to talk about building a statue for Jaden Daniels. I mean, the fact that he was talking about him coming off of a really good performance, in which he did, and 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and just the glazing, and then then he mentioned Bo Nix. He never once mentioned Caleb Williams, and I think the narrative around Caleb now is, because he was the first pick and things aren't looking good as a team. that it's his fault that they're not winning. Like you said, now all of a sudden it's a quarterback stat alone, and it's not a team stat. It's not a team thing. Like there isn't 11 other players on the field along with him, on offense and defense, by the way. But here's my thing. Besides all the narrative, just look at the performance. Look at the things that he's been doing in spite of what he doesn't have. And that was part of what I talked about with the mental fortitude, is the fact that this guy is getting killed, 60 sacks, and constantly you're seeing him lay down. And to me, it's getting to the point where it's even funny because you see him lay down, and it's almost like he takes a break. Like he sits there for a second and just
give me a second.
What is my life? Like he just contemplates life for a second. Just get a breather. All right, okay, let's just get back up and get back to business. And I love this. I love the resiliency. I love how strong he has been mentally throughout this season. I honestly thought this would break Caleb a long time ago. And so I give him kudos. I give him respect for not having the best situation. Yes, on paper in the beginning of the season, we looked like world beaters. We got Keenan Allen. We got all the great receivers. We got the great linebackers. We got the great tight ends. We got this. We got that. We got the $8 million running back, like you said, coming off of a quote-unquote Pro Bowl season. And so, yes, it sounded and looked good until the season started, until the head coach was still Matt Eberflus, until I was about to say Lou Getty, until Shane Waldron started calling really, really bad plays. Same person, just different
Same dude.
Yeah, same guy. So that's my thing. In spite, that's the key thing I want to say is, in spite of all these things, Caleb Williams could potentially, like you said, I don't see him, going for 400-yard games in the last two games. But the fact that he is even close to breaking the passing record, with all of the ups and downs and the highs and lows, especially in the start of the season, how many people wanted to just send him to the grave immediately because he didn't come out the gate just explosive? It's actually impressive. It's very impressive to me, the fortitude that he has shown, especially against the teams that he's playing now. The Lions are not to be walked over, even though they're depleted. I mean, you have a stat line like 334 yards and 2 touchdowns against them. That's very impressive. He could have had another touchdown. So my thing is, that's what you carry into the next season. All the hype about all these other quarterbacks and who they should have took and, they're better. Just give it time. Give it time. Hopefully the things that need to be addressed will get addressed in the offseason, and then you'll start to see Caleb flourish even more.
And by the way, since I'm always down for DeAndre Swift slander on this show, shout out to the Games Report. He said it's hella annoying when we blame players for how they play here in Chicago when they're consistently, I'm assuming he meant productive before they came here. It's an organization. I had a stroke there. Y'all saw that? That was impressive. Organizational problem, champs. Let's run through his Philly numbers to see how he got there. Week 2, week 1, 3 yards. Mm-hmm. Week 2, 175 yards. Week 3, 130 yards. Week 4, does sound familiar? 56. Week 5, 70. Week 6, 18. Week 7, 62. Week 8, 57. This is rushing yards, by the way. Week 9, 43. Week 10, 76. Week 11, 80. Week 12, 13. Am I sounding familiar? Am I hitting the nail on the head? DeAndre Swift is who he is.
Yeah.
And if you want those all-purpose yards, here's his receiving: 6, 8, 23, 38, 40, 13, 7, 31, 31, 4, 7, 0, 1, 0, 5.
Jesus. That's a Pro Bowl for you.
So, yes, he did break 1,000 yards last season. Let's not pretend like we don't know why. Let's not pretend we don't know why Philly was so willing to just go get him up out of here. Speaking of which, over 100 in the chat. Over 200 in the chat. 200.
That's right. All right.
And that's behind an offensive line that is opening up minivan holes. There are small Dominican children that could fit through these holes.
That is
you know what I mean? They're ready to play the baseball.
Baseball.
No, but like it's I love that the things that everyone screamed were excuses last year, that everyone screamed are excuses for Mitch, that everyone screamed are excuses for Jay, that everyone screamed are excuses for every single quarterback that comes here. Meanwhile, when everyone else has those same things not in place or when everyone else has those things in place around the NFL, they look better. It's kind of crazy how that works, ain't it? How an offensive line is an excuse. How poor offensive line play is an excuse. How having a left tackle who gets tackled with you is an excuse. How having a center who can't stay upright is an excuse. All of a sudden this season when that's a problem for the rookie. But it wasn't an excuse last season when it was Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm just staying consistent. Now, some things that you do, I'm not saying that you don't have problems. You do. There's a ton of problems on this team. Shout out to Paulie G.
PG.
So my only issue with Caleb is why can't Caleb do anything in the first half? Is it because the team scheme? Because in the second half, he looked great, but opposing teams are in prevent defense now. Well, he looked great in the first half yesterday.
Yeah,
he
I was
looked
about
a little
to say,
more
they
down
scored
to earth in the
14.
second half yesterday. He scored 14 in the first half. He scored a little bit less in the second half yesterday. But yeah, you know, I get you. Like, I do think that there's things Caleb needs to work on. I'm not sitting here telling you Caleb's a finished project. I'm telling you Caleb is a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And he is on pace to be arguably one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in a Chicago Bears jersey. By the way, this is nuts.
Cheap. You know how much they got Saquon for?
That's nuts.
Cheap.
That's nuts. That was nuts.
Come on, Gaines.
I ain't even say that one on the stream. That was crazy, dog. I ain't even gonna put you out there like that.
All right. Okay. That's all right.
But it's not to say the Bears don't have problems. I do believe the Chicago Bears have problems. I just think there's a lot that we need to look to before we start looking and saying Caleb Williams has nothing. Caleb Williams is nothing. He's garbage. He's a bust. He's literally putting up some of the best quarterback numbers we've ever seen with 60 sacks. By the way, you want to know what some of the other quarterbacks put up that have been sacked as much or a little bit more than Caleb Williams? Bryce Young got 62 sacks last season. He had 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
Horrible.
In 16 games. David Carr, the most sacked rookie quarterback of all time, 9 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Tim Couch, he had 15 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Blake Bortles, 2014, 11 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Let's see if I can find some guys who a little bit more recent, because again, very different NFL. Kyler Murray in 2019, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and he was sacked 48 times, so a lot less. Trying to find more recent guys. Josh Rosen, that's kind of recent. 2018,
Arizona,
11 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. I forgot they drafted Rosen and Murray back to back.
Yeah, they said this is not working, and they pivoted very quickly.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
This is actually a very good decision. Yeah,
that's a good one. Geno Smith, rookie season, New York Jets, 43 sacks, 12 touchdowns, 21 interceptions.
Jesus.
Andrew Luck is a great example. Came into that Peyton Manning team, right? 23 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. Caleb Williams, 19 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Y'all want to write him off that quickly. I think it's because it's easy to do. It's very easy to say, it doesn't look the way we want it to look. And so that's why we're up in arms. The record's bad. Why is it like, PG said, why is it that, when defenses go to prevent, that he looks better in the second half or in the clutch moments? They're still playing defense. They're still playing defense. Like when they're technically still in the game, like they were in the third quarter of yesterday's game before Detroit kept scoring, they were still trying to stop Caleb. It's not like they took their foot off the gas. Teams are coming in here trying to kill us. They already know our reputation. It's not like they're saying, "Oh, well, we'll give it to Caleb."
and it's not that easy. You can fake fumble and do it. Like,
oh, and by the way, oh my God, I didn't even realize that was a fake. That's another conversation,
bro. Because we don't have the sound of it. Usually we're talking through it, so we can't hear everything that they're saying. So I didn't even hear I can't even remember the announcers from yesterday's name. I didn't even hear them say it's a fake, and literally them like breaking it down as a fake. Like I was cracking up at that when like I was like, dog, I think they faked it, bro. Like
I
because
believe
it was,
Jared
what
Goff
it was?
even. Yeah,
It was
Goff
Gibbs
even,
jumping up so quick to throw a block.
yeah,
Like that's
Goff
what it
even,
meant for me.
like the quarterback even said I think he was supposed to fumble or make it look like he was fumbling the ball first before he turned around and threw it. Because
Yeah.
if you noticed, he turned around and flung that boy like he already knew where he was throwing it to. That's why I was like, oh wow, yeah, this is a setup. They're playing games with us. But I mean, back to the point, I think Caleb, again, it's crazy. It's like we have something that we've never had before. We have a quarterback, and people are still trying to find a reason to discredit his season just
No, it's
because
not,
it doesn't look the same way.
I think here's my issue with it. It's that we're not looking at the first off, again, wins have become a quarterback stat this season when they weren't
They are
last season
not.
for Justin Fields. We're not looking at the team. We're not looking at the issues that really do exist. We're not looking at now all of a sudden the fact that his center is a fried turd means nothing. Now all of a sudden the fact that his left tackle basically is getting pushed back into his lap, and prayers up for Braxton Jones. He is not going to be back quickly at all. I think that was
that's unfortunate.
massively serious injury for him. And by the way, the backups aren't good. You got Jake Curran, and you didn't
Larry
have
Borum.
Amagaji dressed yesterday. So you got Jake Curran and Larry Borum on the left side. What's your first play from scrimmage? Outside zone run to the left side.
Yep, that's smart.
You know what I mean? Like you
Let's try these guys out.
It's not an excuse to point out what's really there. And that for me is the part that I think irritates me when I hear these people try to go at Caleb Williams when he's putting up numbers like we haven't seen in the Chicago Bears uniform, when he's doing things. And I get it. He's not winning games. I get it. You want to see the wins. You want to see him put the numbers up in winning efforts. He can't control all of the wins. How many wins has he had taken away from him? How many game-winning drives he led this season that don't end in wins? The Hail Mary, he led 2 game-winning drives back-to-back. A Hail Mary takes that away from you.
Apparently, people think that those are garbage time stats when you're in the game trying to win it.
Yeah, that's nuts. I don't even pay attention to that. But again, I implore you, look around the league to see how important those things is. Sam Darnold's good.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold's a good quarter. Sam Darnold's about to get the bag.
That's
Minnesota
crazy.
has a good problem.
That is crazy.
Sam Darnold is probably their starting quarterback moving forward. Like they have a good problem. Now, some of the issues the Chicago Bears do have, and I think the biggest issue, I don't think you have a quick fix for your run game unless you find a different running back.
No, you have to go into the offseason and actually address that either through, and I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't go into free agency addressing running back. I would probably use the 4th round pick on a running back this time around, even though, we did need a punter in the 4th round this past year. Just going to go out and say that.
Oh,
but
you bastard.
I'm with you though. I think that does need to be addressed seriously because it has to be a complement to your pass game. You cannot be one-dimensional going into next season. You have to rely on someone that has good vision, that is able to see the hole and get in that hole. And for lack of a better way to say it, I'm sorry. And I mean, hey, attack the hole, right? Just gotta attack it. But my thing is, yes, you need to make sure you go into the offseason addressing that. That is one of the bigger issues that the Chicago Bears have because the teams are going to again find a way to kill Caleb if they know that, okay, we know they're one-dimensional. We know DeAndre Swift doesn't have any vision. We know what they're about.
Yeah.
You got to address that.
No, yeah, listen, it's bad. And again, another thing where I look at Caleb and I say I'm impressed by him is because of him being able to still be successful with a running game that's non-existent. Him being able to be successful with a running game that basically hasn't helped him, hasn't offered him any play action. You can't run any naked boots. I keep hearing people go, well, why isn't he running naked boots? Because there's no belief that you're running the football. There's no belief that if I fake this handoff and roll to the outside, I'm following Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Because DeAndre Swift, no matter what, he ain't getting out of the backfield. And so for me, when I look at this team as a whole, I am concerned about the running game. I am concerned about, I'll be honest with you, my biggest concern, the leadership. All these leaders that we supposedly have on this team, do we still have them?
Where are they at?
Let me give you the list of Bears captains here. Because I looked this up yesterday during the show. And you tell me who the leader is. Now, there's some dudes in here that I do think lead by example.
Okay.
Jalen Johnson, DJ Moore, Caleb Williams, Kevin Byard, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Mercedes Lewis, Cole Kmet.
Kevin Byard, TJ Edwards.
Okay. You got 8. And realistically, Cole Kmet, I mean, I love Cole. I think that he probably is just tired. But Cole Kmet said, listen, I'm trying to pull everybody along with me and they don't want to come. I'm done. I'm worried about me.
1, 2, 3 Cancun. Absolutely.
Jalen Johnson is pushing running backs in on the goal line. He's out. He's done. He ain't risking nothing. The rest of this season, he's done. He like, hey, I mean, literally, the effort on the goal line yesterday was crazy.
No, it wasn't good.
I have a real concern that this team of leaders that you believed you had, you don't have. I have a real concern that this group of and I get it. I think Jalen Johnson is a phenomenal one of the hardest workers on the team. I think the same of DJ Moore. I think that DJ Moore is a leader in the sense that he's going to bring guys with him. He's going to set up throwing sessions. He's going to work with the quarterback and get all the receivers together out there. He does do those things. We've seen him do those things over 2 years. I think they're lead by example types of guys. The problem is if people don't follow your example, there's not much that you can lead with.
I also think that you're a good leader is one who knows how to stay the course and be a good example when it's the toughest times, when you're going through the toughest battles or the hardest seasons, like all of these piled up L's after going 4-2. Like that's when you need somebody that's going to kind of right the ship and just kind of be that mainstay, that balanced voice in the locker room. And I don't think you have those guys here outside of a few. Like I said, I've seen about a few people still technically play as hard as possible. And to me, that's Kevin Byard. I saw him play hard the other day. Edwards is always going around, flying around, throwing his body at people. So I give kudos to those guys that haven't quit on the season and are already thinking about vacation, even though we know we're not making the playoffs. So that's what I like to look at a leader at. I think we do need more leaders that lead by that kind of example where, hey, when the chips are down, we're still giving our max effort. I don't want guys that have kind of reeled it in and said, you know what, all right, season is lost. I don't want to get hurt. All right, let's wait till next season.
Yeah. And listen, I've said this a lot. A Hail Mary in Washington destroyed all the culture you thought you had.
That means you didn't have it.
It didn't exist. It never existed. All the culture went away. And I asked this question yesterday because I think you're in a tough situation. I asked this on the Chicago Bears postgame show yesterday. How important is Jaquan Brisker to this defense, and does that change how much you may need to sign him? Because, and I didn't think of Jaquan as one of those leaders, but I've given this stat that Courtney Cronin tweeted out a couple of times here. Jaquan went out week 6. Since week 6, Chicago Bears, or since week 7, I should say, Chicago Bears are 32nd in total QBR allowed, 32nd in yards allowed after the catch per reception, 32nd in yards per completion, 31st in QB time to throw from the pocket per pass, 31st in first downs allowed per pass attempt, 31st in yards per drive, 31st in drives that result in points, 30th in pass rush win rate. Now, there's some of those things Jaquan doesn't affect, but I do wonder, right? I mean, week 7 is the Hail Mary, right?
Yeah. No, week 7 is the bye week.
Week 7 is the bye week. Week 8 is the Hail Mary? Oh, no, week 6 is the Hail Mary.
No, I
When did
think
we play Washington?
we played them afterwards. We were 4-2 going into the break, and then I think we thought we were going into Washington, Arizona, and New England as those 3 easy wins before the division rivals.
Right. So we were 4-2. So Washington is after the bye week.
Right. Yeah.
So that's game,
when we thought that he had a week to recover from the hit that he had on the guy.
Right. That Tyreek Stevenson goofing off in the corner.
Yeah.
That's where that starts.
Yep.
You get absolutely trounced and run all over in Arizona. The Patriots game, you lie down like a dog.
Like a dog.
I do wonder how much of an impact Jaquan has in being a voice in that room.
Yeah, and I like Shane O'Mac to Mac Billings as well, being out really hurt the defense. Obviously, that interior. I mean, you took it. I mean, you already had a bad run defense, honestly, with him in there. But I mean, without Billings, it just was putrid. It was even worse. But my thing, even with Jaquan, that's easy to answer for me. Look at the way he plays. Look at how much passion he plays with. Brisker, exactly, Matty Legend. Brisker is the heart of the team. He's that guy that goes out there and actually looks like he loves playing the game of football no matter
he
what.
All ball when you talk to him.
Puts his life on the line in a sense, quote unquote.
Yeah.
That's why the guy is out. You need players like that. I'm not saying you need players that are going to constantly hurt themselves. We don't want a team full of injuries, but you want guys that are going to go out there and play the game of football violently. Play the way it's supposed to be played. And that trickles down into the culture of the other players. When they see that, when they see a leader like that out in the field, they have to replicate that. Or is it replicate? I don't know.
Replicate? Is that replicate? Bring that back.
They have to replicate that attitude. Like when you got a guy out there that's going 100%, 110%, I don't want to look like I'm going 60, but now when he's off the field, okay, well, my 60 is good enough. Yes, you need more players like Brisker. I totally agree with that. Maybe some of this roster needs to be revamped because we got a bunch of guys that are just kind of like ho-hum. When things are going good, maybe they give their best.
Yeah.
But as soon as a sign of any sort of adversity, losing record, now it's kind of like, okay, I'm putting my foot off the gas. We're losing anyway.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it's shocking to me some of the how far this team has fallen off, and I do look at it as a, do the Bears have a leadership issue? If you had real leaders in the locker room, listen, I love Mercedes Lewis, but it's time to put Big Dog out the pasture. You know what I mean? It's time to have that old Yeller moment.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I love you. Yeah, man. It's time to put him out the pasture.
I can't look.
I love you, Big Dog. But it's over. And you can't just be a voice in the locker room. If you want to just be a voice in the locker room, go ahead and be a voice in the locker room as a coach.
Yeah. We need as many open roster spots as possible.
But and listen, he's the least of my problems. The other guys who are my problems are Cole Kmet, Tremaine Edmonds. Yeah, I think Caleb is probably. It feels like Caleb believes in the respect factor because there's a bunch of times where it feels like he could have done something different, could have called a timeout in a tough moment, but he doesn't want to overstep his bounds, which, in the case of wins and losses, please overstep. But he doesn't want to overstep his bounds. So I wonder how much he's being vocal in those moments.
Yeah.
Maybe next season you see more of that out of him. But Jalen Johnson and DJ Moore, like I said, they're lead by example guys. Who's the vocal leader there? Jalen will blow up. He'll let you know when it's bad. But he's going to outwork everybody. He wants you to follow his work ethic. And so for me, I feel like moving forward, your biggest problem is, do you have leaders in the building who are actual leaders? Or do you got a bunch of guys that we feel good about who they're just good guys? And we'll see, man. I mean, listen, a lot of change coming to the Chicago Bears, a lot of change going to going to be coming over the next few months. I guarantee that, especially with a new head coach coming in. I'll tell you one thing. At least you got your answer on Thomas Brown there.
Oh man,
he's not Tomlin anything. He's been put in a terrible position. I'm not putting this all on Thomas Brown, man. Hey, man, if you're on the YouTube side, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. If you're on the X side, hit that repost button. Share this thing up to all your friends and family, man. Appreciate y'all for showing love. Let's finish out the show with this, George JC, because before the game yesterday, we got a report out of Tom Pelissero. Oh, Mr. Pelissero.
Pelissero.
Oh, what's with the accent on Pelissero?
What? I like a Pelissero. I like a good Pelissero.
That's just Mr. Pelissero.
It's like a fine wine, you know.
Is he Tommy DeVito? You got Tommy Cutlets out here?
Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets action. Tom Pelissero reported before the game that Ben Johnson is very intrigued by the Chicago Bears job, and that he would be willing to take a look at the Chicago Bears organization. Basically, that he's ready to sit down and have the conversation whenever this season is over. That he likes what we of course heard Ben Johnson talking about the quarterback Caleb Williams and how he throws the ball. I believe that he put on a pretty good show yesterday, slinging the pill. 314 yards. Somebody had a dig where it was like Caleb Williams threw for 314 and 2 touchdowns in front of Ben Johnson. And it was like the crying thing on Murray where like they run away like on the Maury show. Like
yeah.
It was like, oh, he showed out versus the guy who's going to be his next head coach. But it does seem like a lot of things are pointing to Ben Johnson as somebody who's possibly going to be coming in here. Do you feel better about the fact that Ben Johnson has been it is intrigued by the Chicago Bears job and is not scared off by the Bears, excuse me, being the Bears?
Trash. Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, because we talked about what is attracting any of these head coaches or possible, I should say, head coaches or coordinators wanting to come to Chicago. It's because we have Caleb Williams. That is the first and foremost reason why a lot of these guys are enamored with this job, despite all of the toxicity and chaos going on in the organization, because they probably feel they can be the answer to steering and turning around that ship that we call the Titanic that's constantly sinking every year. So my thing is, yes, he saw what Caleb did. He even gave him his kudos to the in the presser before the game. But you hear that ball, and we've seen him zip the ball around. He's impressive. I believe some of the Lions team mentioned how great he looked, and he's legit. This is par for the course. Ben Johnson, obviously, I'm sure, is interested in a chance at being the head coach for the Bears, and this kind of solidified that. I feel like the performance that he had, but I also feel like he put on his own little resume. Or I should say, tightened up his resume when he put out those different plays yesterday, like the one that
is that what's gonna do it? Is that what's gonna do it for everybody? I swear it cracks me up.
What's doing it?
It cracks me up that we always get stuck on like some trick play that's run against us, or like whenever it's something against us, like that was the one. Oh,
that's it.
Yeah. we like what movie was that where it was I'm trying to remember. It wasn't Pop, so it wasn't the Wayans brothers, but he was on the plane. Was that Soul Plane? Where he was like, I'm about to go, baby. Normally I don't do this quick. Like,
oh my God.
Dang, I wish I could remember that movie. But John Witherspoon was playing Buddy up on the plane. He was wilding out with a baked potato. But didn't get that movie reference. That's all right. We'll keep moving. That was Soul Plane. Okay, that was Soul Plane. King Book of World, bro. Yes.
Hey, so I'll be honest with you. This might
don't tell me, JC.
I might get my card revoked.
Oh, JC.
I never saw Soul Plane. I'm sorry. I never saw Soul Plane. I gotta watch it. Never saw it. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm
JC.
sorry, you guys.
JC.
I know that's a fail. That's an F. That's an L. That's an L. I know.
That's the most shared hood DVD of all time.
I've watched My Baby Boy. I've watched I watched Boys in the Hood.
Oh,
I've watched plenty.
JC.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey, dog. That's how Bears fans. So chat, y'all get me. That's how Bears fans are with the trick play. Like, oh, normally I don't go this fast, baby. Oh God. Oh, dog.
I'm sorry. I'll put that on the list.
Yeah, that's tough, dog. That's tough. Shout out first super chat from Diamond Factory Collective. $4.99. Appreciate your support. And he said, fix the line and coach, not the running back. You can fix their running back too. The organization needs to untie Poles and let him work bear down. Now, here's the one thing I do want. I want to ask because untie. I don't know where he's tied up at, but that's creepy. Watch yourself now. But here's the one thing that I do want to ask because of it. There's been a lot of talk that what do you do if Ben Johnson comes in and wants his guy? And I'm talking about his GM. Like, you believe Ben Johnson is the guy to fix Caleb Williams, but Ben Johnson goes, I can't work. Or not to fix Caleb Williams, I guess to fix this offense as a whole. He's the guy that's going to continue to develop Caleb Williams. He's the guy that's going to continue to get this team moving in the right direction. Do you let him dictate policy if he comes in and he says, I want this job, I don't want Ryan Poles?
I need him to actually have a better record or a track record of being a successful head coach before I give him that kind of power. I understand your resume as an OC. That's all well and good, but you can't come up in here walking like you Vince McMahon with your shoulder swag and like yeah, we're not doing that. We're not playing that game. I think that's a little too far. I understand you want a certain level of control and understanding of where this organization is going to go. You want to see success. We all do. But to sit there and say, yeah, I don't want this guy. I really don't want this guy, when he's the one that actually picked the quarterback you're going to be grooming. He's the one that actually made a lot of good, really, decisions that's setting you up for future success. Like, we talk about how bad some of the things that he hasn't done yet, of course, but no, Ryan Poles should still be able to at least get his job done or at least do his job over this offseason. So, no, I think that's a little too far.
Yeah, I agree. That's been some of the rhetoric around Twitter, and we talked about it yesterday on the show that, you know, if Ben Johnson said, I want to come here, but I want Ray Agnew to come with me. He's the number 2 over in Detroit, right? Ray Agnew is a part of why Detroit is built the way that they are. You know what I mean? Like he's a part of why Detroit is built as has that stout offensive line, has the pieces that it has, right? He's one of the main guys. He's their Ian Cunningham. Would you want to see him come to the Bears? Like, it is tough for me, not to say that I would like the fact that finally your GM and your head coach are on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say that Poles and Flus weren't on the same page. How many DBs did we get in here? How many trades were made for defensive players? You know what I mean? How many of the offseason signings were on the defensive side? Last year, kind of the first year that we went all in on the offense, and you basically signed Keenan Allen, a bunch of dudes who don't have the body capacities to play offensive line. And so I do wonder if you kind of look at it and go, we want the guy who's these guys are in lockstep, versus maybe Ben Johnson wants to come here, but he doesn't want to work with Ryan Poles. Are you going to risk it all on somebody who, let's be honest, if he doesn't get it right quickly next season, may not be here by the end of that season?
Yeah.
That's really what you're asking yourself. It's kind of the Matt Eberflus conversation all over again. It's kind of the Flus conversation all over again. If you're going to move on from him anyway, why not move on from him now?
I mean, that's a good point. I think he has a better, well, I won't say a better track record with Matt Eberflus, because they were kind of paired together with that record. But my thing is, I think he's made better decisions, overall. So that's another reason why I would give him a little more grace going into this. We know all the things that he got wrong. You know, you did it backwards. We're not addressing the trenches. You have this offseason to address that. If going forward, Ben Johnson, you know, next season is a successful head coach, he has a successful record, over 500. If he comes in here then yeah, okay, you want to start barking about, hey, this guy, get this guy out of here. He's in my way of how I want to see this team being built, how I want to see this team be successful. Then okay, maybe there's a conversation to be had. But I think at this point now, I think Ryan
if you're over
Poles
500, you're not moving on from Ryan Poles.
Well, that's my point. That's ultimately my point about why I think that they should just ultimately give him his control, or rather his choice of whatever he does this offseason. Like, you're not coming in, you know, throwing people out of the building. Like no, let's pump the brakes on that.
No, yeah. I don't know. That's something that's been brought up. I'm not in favor of it. I would think that if Ryan Poles is leading this coaching search, then you let him pick the head coach that is in lockstep with him, not just, and I would hope that he does pick the head coach that is in lockstep with him. But the question is, right, if you're interviewing Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson walks away from there, he's like, I'd love to come here, but I'm not coming there with Ryan Poles. You know what I mean? Is that where Kevin Warren has to step in and go, well, that's the guy I want.
Yeah.
Even though he's never picked a head coach. Well, that's the guy I want. So you're out of here. Yeah, I do wonder if that's going to be a scenario that plays out here. We'll see, man. We'll see what this Bears team has in store for us. It's going to be a very interesting offseason. I wonder if it, you know, Vrabel to me seems like he's got a pipeline to go back to Ohio State. Wonder if he does that. Wonder if the options are there, because like I said, when we had Colton Pouncey on over on the Chicago Bears podcast, he said there is a real chance that Ben Johnson could go back to Detroit if they don't get things done this season. And
there's a possibility that
they are. I don't know if they get things done this season. So we may be having a moot point on Ben Johnson altogether. But hey, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Appreciate the back and forth and the discourse. Gucci Finesse in here, always riding for the other side. Crimson in the building, Relentless Mikey in this mug, man. Appreciate y'all for showing love. Who all in here? Frank Nitty in this building, man. Frank Nitty. Sir. Bears Junkie in the building. As we got in here, Say Shy City in the building. ATF in the building. Steve-O in the building. Said coaches don't pick GMs.
Nova.
I agree with that. I agree. Well, not really. Kyle Shanahan got to pick his GM.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan definitely got to pick his GM. Matty Legend in the building. iBull in the building. Shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing
Shout out,
love.
Nova. Yes,
hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. As always, man, for Mr. Meaty, Jordan JC, it's your boy Pat the Designer. Back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. We'll be back for more Bears content today. Peace.
Hey, King Booker World, hit me up on Twitter, man. If you work for Triple H, I definitely need my wheels fixed. God. Can't stand that. Jesus. Oh, by the way, Pat, on an even more positive note, the Bulls are playing tonight against the Bucks.
Oh, are they?
That's your Bulls update.
There's your Bulls update. Bulls got crushed by 40 the other night. Bulls are a weird team.
Yep.
Alex Caruso got 80 million, by the way.
Jesus.
Josh Giddey's not going to get $80.
Come on now.